good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi. Registered global organization. It's dedicated to developing and growing the study and practice of secretaryship to improve professional standards, the quality of governance practice, and to improve organizational performance. On the program this morning, we're going to be looking at relevance of whistleblowing to corporate sustainability. Relevance of whistleblowing to corporate sustainability. All right, our guest this morning is Mrs. FOLASADE AKINMUSIRE, Principal Partner, ADROIT and DEFT, a firm of legal practitioners and solicitors. She's also Treasurer, ICSAN Lagos Chapter. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
All right,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on the program this morning. All right, with me in the studio is Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning to you, all our listeners.
All right, let's take this message. We'll be right back.
Hey, Obinna, good to see you. You look so worried. Is everything all right? I'm having serious issues in my company, balancing the interests of my company's many stakeholders like shareholders, management, customers, financiers, government, and communities giving us a problem. That has to do with corporate governance. Exactly. Then you need to get in touch with ICSAN. ICSAN? Yeah, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. They provide you with seasoned and top-ranking professionals trained to uphold the standards of corporate governance and efficient operations. You can also get in touch with ICSAN if you want to become a chartered secretary and administrator. Contact ICSAN by visiting the website www.icsan.org or call 009 06 601 69. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, so corporate governance platform right here. And like I said earlier, we're looking at relevance of whistleblowing to corporate sustainability. All right, Mrs. AKINMUSIRE, let's look at whistleblowing. What exactly is whistleblowing?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Whistleblowing functions as a channel for reporting misconduct, fraudulent activities, and all sorts of illicit or unethical practices within an organization. It could be done internally or externally. Internally in terms of the board or the regulatory authority over that organization.
Now, what's the relevance of whistleblowing in the concept of corporate governance?
Corporate governance generally involves, the process and practices employed in the running and managing of an organization in an accountable manner in the best interest of all stakeholders of an organization. So for the interest of all the stakeholders to be preserved, the company or organization needs to employ transparent and easy information dissemination policies. Disclosures are also very important to ensure that the interests of all stakeholders are met. These are all ideal for the successful running of an organization. However, we know that this is not always the case in every situation. So stakeholders are so far being charged with responsibility to ensure that organizations are run in a transparent manner. And that takes us to the essence of whistleblowing. Whistleblowing can be said to be reckoned as one of the mechanisms of corporate governance aimed at ensuring that organizations, be public or private, are efficiently run and managed in a transparent manner to ensure sustainability of the resources of that organization and, of course, lead to prosperity and continued existence of that organization.
Now, is whistleblowing equally as useful a tool in the public sector?
Yes, very, very, very relevant. Whistleblowing is very relevant even in the public entity, as we have said. Just as it obtains in a private institution, there are stakeholders in the public sector whose interests need to be protected by ensuring proper management of resources in a transparent manner. Most, especially in the public sector, there are violators of this public policies or violators of inherent ethical standards. So there has to be checks and balances to discourage this, to ensure that the organizations remain vibrant. So we have to employ as a mechanism whistleblowing policies. It is important to also ensure proper management of the continued resources, and this can only be done by ensuring and rebuilding public trust and confidence in the Nigerian economy to thus facilitate increased trade and investment for every organization. So employing a vibrant whistleblowing policy in the public sector is very, very important.
Now, the federal government already has a national policy on whistleblowing. Do you think such a policy is enough, or having an act of National Assembly on the subject would be preferred?
It would be preferred to further show the government's commitment to its whistleblowing policy. We are aware that the federal government has the Federal Ministry of Finance whistleblowing program. Then there are also pockets of other whistleblowing programs, sectoral whistleblowing policies. The CBN has its own, the Freedom of Information Act of 2011. We also have the Investments and Securities Act of 2007, as well as other pockets. The one of SEC is also there, the EFCC Act, the ICSAN Act. They all provide for some form of whistleblowing and protection of employees and whistleblowers generally. But to unify and codify all of these provisions would further prove the commitment of the federal government to eradicating corruption in the nation. So I think it would be a very welcome development to unify all the various statutes to further show the government's commitment towards eradicating corruption by enacting the act. Yes, it is very, very important and necessary.
Let's look at the positive developments that having an effective legal framework on whistleblowing that to bring into a country.
Okay, you have such, like I said earlier, to further rebuild public trust and confidence in that economy, and it will facilitate increased trade and investment for that country.
Now, what's the relationship between...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Let's look at the relationship between whistleblowing policy and corporate sustainability.
Yeah. Okay, corporate sustainability, as we know, involves creating long-term stakeholder value through the implementation of a business strategy that focuses on sound ethical practices, of course, environmental practices and dimensions of doing business. So when you have, to ensure corporate sustainability, you have to manage your resources adequately. And when you have unethical practices, you have corruption playing in the management of any organization, be it public or private, it's very, very obvious that the prosperity of that organization would be at stake. So in order to ensure that corporate sustainability is maintained for any organization, continuity of that organization, a whistleblowing policy or regime will be necessary. Not only will it foster disclosure of unethical practices and mismanagement, it will also provide adequate protection to the whistleblower in itself. And when whistleblowers know that they are going to be protected, and they know that there are structures in place, public structures in place to adequately protect them when they make these disclosures, they will come forward, make these disclosures, and of course, the results will be seen, or in that organization or in the public corporation, and corporate sustainability will be achieved.
Now, the court states that the board should ensure the existence of a whistleblowing mechanism that is reliable, accessible, and guarantees the anonymity of the whistleblower. Can you explain the relevance of reliability, accessibility, and anonymity in this context?
Okay, Principle 19 makes provision for that. A policy will be said to be reliable, accessible, and guarantee anonymity, where the whistleblower can confidently approach any team, responsible for same in an organization or a public corporation without fear of being witch-hunted or being subject to reprisal attacks or revenge. Principle 19.4 further goes further to say that there has to be a team or body responsible for that in any organization, be it private or public. The whistleblower should know who to approach. The whistleblower has to also be protected. And then the board, in showing its commitment, towards its policies, whistleblowing policy, has to show and make public its whistleblowing policy and be committed to it in a public manner. That way it can be said to be reliable. It is reliable because, it has the full weight of the authorities of that organization, and is accessible in the sense that for it to be reliable and accessible, it must possess structures that ensure that the policy will be followed through in terms of how the disclosure is managed, from the process of disclosing whatever unethical standard or corruption, as the case may be, to the point of investigating the disclosure, and how the result is also communicated, to the company, to the board, to the staff, and everybody. It has to be a transparent process, a transparent structure has to be in place for that policy to be said to be accessible and reliable. And then on the issue of being on anonymity, the policy must provide anonymity to the whistleblower. The disclosure must be handled in strict confidential manner, and then the identity of the whistleblower has to be protected. And this is very important because, as we all know, there are tainted members in every organization, or even in leadership positions, that might decide to, as I said earlier, witch hunt or resort to reprisal attacks, on that whistleblower. So there has to be adequate structure to ensure that the whole system is managed in a transparent manner, and then there has to be adequate compensation, available to the whistleblower, as provided by Principle 19.6 and 19.3. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. FOLASADE AKINMUSIRE. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. All right, Mr. Getefe, some announcements at this time.
Thank you very much, Fumi. The major announcement today is on the ICSAN Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum. This is to remind our members, company secretaries, registrars, practitioners in corporate secretarial practice, and other stakeholders that the ICSAN 2021 Company Secretaries and Registrar Forum will hold on Thursday, 4th of March 2021. That's about 8 days away. The time is at 11 a.m. prompt. The theme of this event is Managing Unclaimed Dividends and Unutilized Funds in Dormant Bank Account in Nigeria. Issues, options, and way out. Managing unclaimed dividends and unutilized funds in dormant bank accounts in Nigeria. Issues, options, and way out. The mode of participation will be by virtual method. The link will be sent to participants upon confirmation of the payment of participation fee. Upon payment of participation fee. The schedule of participation fee is as follows. Members, 20,000 naira. Non-members, 25,000 naira. Students, 10,000 naira. Please note that participation at this forum attracts 5 credit points. This year, the forum aims at exposing participants to issues on unclaimed dividends and its inherent challenges. It will be an interactive program facilitated by seasoned technocrats, experienced and skilled professionals. It promises to be value-adding program. We look forward to receiving you and your nominations. For more information on this, please call Florence on 080-323-69300. 080-323-69300. Let me let me stop here because of time.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kadi Ketefe, FCIS Head of Research, ICSAN, and also we say a very big thank you to Mrs. FOLASADE AKINMUSIRE, FCIS Principal Partner, ADROIT and DEFT, a firm of legal practitioners and solicitors. She's also a Treasurer, ICSAN Lagos Chapter. And that's a bit this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll return same time, same station next week, right here. My name is Funmi Omoburiwo. Enjoy the rest of the day.